So now let's talk about you. Growing up, you come from a royal family, and so you've been growing up in a certain environment that not everyone has known in its childhood. How was it?
So yes, growing up in a royal family is much different than growing up in a commoner's family, because there are a lot of protocols, there are rules, regulations to be followed. Because ultimately you are being groomed to become the custodian of the rich cultural heritage which is being passed on to you by the ancestors. So it's a big responsibility, because you're not just going to take over a family which is an ordinary. My family, for example, is a very old dynasty. I'm the 39th direct descendant of a 650-year-old Gohil dynasty,
Oh wow.
which was established in the 13th century.
In Rajpipla.
Yes, but our ancestry goes even beyond that, where we have got recorded history of 1100 years. Even before that. So it's a very rich cultural heritage. So it's very important for the person who is the next in line to kind of take the responsibility of taking care of this heritage and passing it on to the next generation.
Okay.
So the whole grooming takes place with your birth. For example, I was born in 1965, and our rights and privileges were withdrawn in 1971. But since I was born before 1971, my birth has been registered in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, because the government should know who is the next person in line. So I am the crown. I was born as the crown prince in the royal family. So my name was recorded in the gazette as the crown prince of Rajpipla.
It means since you're born you have some political responsibilities, or?
There are responsibilities towards the heritage, of course, that you are maintaining that heritage, as well as you end up becoming the ambassadors or representatives of that geographical area. So, for example, if there is an issue which needs to be represented to the government, then the people come to you for help, and it's expected for you as an ambassador of that or the descendant of that dynasty to represent the people to get that issue resolved. Because it has been observed that most of the people don't have faith in the political system, because politicians are there for their vested interest. They are only there till the time they have power, or when they are elected. Once they are out of power, they have no role to play.
So the kind of ancient dynasty of rulers is what matters the most.
Yeah, because see, we are the people who have laid the foundation of our dynasties or our principalities. So we have got our own interest. Our forefathers, my ancestors, have fought wars to protect this our kingdoms from the enemies. So we have toiled, we have worked hard towards it. It has not come easily. And what today the politicians have got, everything is ready made for them. It's all ready on a platter. Whatever development has happened, whether it is roads, railways, electricity, hospitals, public parks, public utility, everything has come ready, free of cost. They haven't worked hard for that. So they will not see anything. If you get, it's common sense. If today I'm giving you this, what you are wearing, this necklace, free of cost, free as a gift, you're not going to be bothered about it that much, as in comparison to if you have worked hard and you have, from your earning, you have bought this. You will keep it more carefully.
Yeah, of course. It's more precious.
Exactly, it is more precious. In the same way, today whatever we have given to the government is all free. So anything given for free is not valued as much as if you have worked for that.
Worked hard.
Yes. So we know I know how much my ancestors have worked towards developing our heritage. So we will be taking care of it more than anyone else will do.
Okay.
So we ultimately become the role models for the people, society, and they are. Even on today's date, even though India has got independence in last 70 years. But still the people of our town, they respect our ancestors. I have my great grandfather's statue in the town. People worship him like God. They will come to his statue, offer flowers to his statue, offer coconut, and before they are undertaking a journey, or before they're starting new business, they will come take his blessings, and then start a business. So it is like, for them, our ancestors are gods.
Because your ancestors, Rajpipla was one of the what was it? Highest class of the
Rajpipla
kingdoms?
was one of the first class kingdoms, which was classified by the Britishers as a first class princely state.
So it means the most developed states.
It had a good amount of revenue. It had earned it. It gave a lot of benefits to the people, job opportunities, reliefs during natural calamities. It was one of the only states, princely states in India, which also had exempt people from paying any tax. There was no tax levied on the whatever income was earned from revenue from natural resources, like teak, wood, timber, bamboo, cotton, natural resources like agate. I'm wearing one of the products of Rajpipla, which is the agate stone, which was mined here. So these were the natural resources which were sold, and revenue was collected, and people were not taxed. And in return, the girls especially in Rajpipla were given free education.
At that time already?
Yes, free education to girls, health services were free, even dairy products, for example, milk was free.
Anyone,
anyone could just go to the dairy and go and get milk. If you compare that with today's day, what services are the people getting?
Yeah, you
have to pay taxes, and what do you get in return? You don't get free milk. You have to pay for the milk. Yes, health services are free in the government hospital, but so that is the reason why people respect the royal families and don't respect the politicians. Because politicians are there just to fill their pocket. Because they know they are only for a certain period they will have power, and they are not sure whether they will get elected again or not. So till they are in power, they like to loot the people, take as much as money as possible, fill their pockets. Whereas for the ruler, the king, he doesn't have to worry about whether he's going to get elected or no. He will always be in power, and it's a dynasty. So the next in line is going to come into power.
So you grew up in a palace?
I grew up in the palace in my early childhood, till the age of 3, and then I moved to Mumbai, and then it was called Bombay, and now it is called Mumbai, and I did my entire education in Mumbai, right from school, college, post-graduation.
You were with other child, not princes or...
No, I'm the only son. I'm the only son in the family. I have a younger sister, so we both, brother and sister, we grew up together at the same school.
But that school, was it kind of a normal school?
It was a co-education. Yeah, it was a school for everyone. But of course, it was one of the best schools of Mumbai, called Bombay Scottish School, where we had a lot of children from the film industry, from Bollywood, as it is called. Because Mumbai is the hub of film industry of India, so a lot of Bollywood children were studying in my school. So it was a very elite school in those days. So coming back to the upbringing, I was raised by a nanny. Most children from the royal families are raised by a nanny, a governess, who was a paid employee to take care of the child. There we had a lot of servants. I grew up in total luxury, where even I didn't have to go and fetch a glass of water for myself.
How many servants, for an idea?
In Bombay, where I stayed in Bombay for my education, we had almost 20 to 25 servants, gardeners, drivers, butlers, cooks, maids, to look after us. We were just 5 members in the home, but we had 25 servants. So you can imagine the kind of the grooming, the living in the lap of luxury,
You must be very confined, no?
Yes, it's a very confined. It's kind of, you're not allowed to do certain things. You cannot make friends outside of your status. So I kind of grew up as a very reserved, shy, introvert person, very timid. I would not talk to anyone much. I would be very quiet in the school, in the classroom. So because I was groomed in that very protected atmosphere, I wasn't allowed to ride a bicycle.
A bicycle?
Because if I would fall, then I would get hurt.
No!
So
But you can fall on the stairs as well.
No, I was not allowed to fall because I was the crown family. So crown prince, you cannot take a risk of
Of falling on the
down
ground.
and or kind of getting hurt. So it has been a record. I have not yet taken a tetanus injection in my life.
Oh.
Because I haven't fallen down, so there was no question of yes, I just fell once from a horse, and because horse riding is also compulsory growing up, so I had just fallen from a horse. But otherwise, other than that, I have not fallen, or they will not put me in a risk of any activity. Even for crossing the road, I had two people hold my hand and cross the road. So they are very careful when I wasn't allowed to go in public transport. There was always a chauffeur-driven car for me. To drive me to school, to bring me back, and for doing anything, I wasn't allowed to board any public transport like a bus or a train or anything of that sort.
In school, could you make some friends at least? Or?
I could make friends, but at the bottom of my heart, always I had to remind myself that if I make a friend below my status, then that friend will not be allowed.
In the palace.
In the home, because I lived in a mansion in Mumbai.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's in that idea, it's more like if you can't come to my home,
Yeah.
or I can't come to you, so
Exactly.
It will be sad for the person.
Yeah, so then I didn't make any friend, and I grew up playing with the servants mostly. I used to play badminton with servants. I would kind of play hide and seek with the servants. Whatever children play the any kind of activity, I would do with the servants.
But so always with grown-up people.
Yeah.
Adults.
So I never got a chance to kind of socialize, mix with friends. That was something I always missed as growing up, because there were so many restrictions on whom to call, whom not to call. Yeah.
And you told me as well that you didn't know who your mother was.
Yeah, so that's also another thing which is very particular about royal growing up in the royal families, is that most mothers or most parents, they don't raise their children. It is raised by the governess or a nanny who is paid by the royal family to take care of the child. So I also was raised by nanny, and till I was a certain age of my life, I did not know who my mother was.
So in that way, the nanny acted as your mother.
But nanny acted as my mother, because she did everything for me. She would right from waking me up, getting me ready for school, bathing me, and dressing me up, and then coming in the car and dropping me to school, getting my lunch for me in the school, bringing me back from school to home.
Giving some affection.
Yeah, and she would sleep just next to me. I mean, of course, I would be sleeping on the bed and she would be on the floor. But she would put me to sleep. She would tell me stories, sing a lullaby for me, and so all that caring, affection was done by my nanny. So when you are a child, you don't realize, and when you grow up, it can happen to anyone. I mean, even for an animal, for that matter. If there is a dog and cat at home, and if the dog takes care of the dog, and cat is supposed to be enemies of each other, but it has happened where the dog has taken care of the cat, and the cat thinks that the dog is the mother. So when you're a child, you don't have that much of understanding.
Okay.
So I grew up in that way, and then when I came to an age where I was starting to understand, I was very disappointed to know that my nanny is not my mother.
When did you learn that?
It was around 9-10 years old, when I was 9 or 10 years old. And my nanny used to tell me that this lady, and I used to wonder, who is this beautiful lady in the home who does a lot of makeup and has perfume and dresses well and keeps roaming around the house and sometimes appears and sometimes disappears. And so my nanny used to say, she is your mother. I said, no way.
So since the beginning she was like, that's your mother? Or she told you at
No, I
9,
mean
10?
later on I kind of, I said, who's this lady who comes and comes and shows up sometimes and then she doesn't show up.
Okay, at one point,
Yeah.
yes.
So then she said, that's your mother. I said, no, she cannot be your mother, you are my mother. And then my nanny would have arguments with me and then I would cry and say, no, you're lying, don't say like this to me, why are you lying? So she said, look at me and look at her, I'm so ugly, I'm so dark, I don't even resemble you. But this is she's the queen. She is your mother. She looks like you. She's pretty. I said no. I don't want her as a mother. I want you as a mother. And there was always a conflict happening between her and me. And then finally, I kind of came to terms and realized that. But still, I was not attached to my mother. I was attached to my nanny because she was the one who took care of me. So I was never attached. In fact, my mother behaved very strangely when I was a kid. She would stop talking to me for several days for no rhyme or reason. And then again, it was upon her if she wanted to talk to me or she doesn't want to talk to me. And I would question my nanny, and my nanny would say, oh, that is up to her. She is the queen, she can decide whether she wants to talk to you or doesn't talk to you. You have to accept the way she is.
So your nanny really was the most precious person.
So I didn't develop any kind of attachment towards my mother, and fathers have always been a very formal. It is a mother and child relation which is of more importance than a father and child. So I never had any love, affection, and attachment. I would never missed my mother anytime, even if I was out. I was not with her. My parents would go out of India very often, and I would be left with my nanny. And not one day I cried for my mother. But if my nanny was going out of town and was going to visit her family, I would cry and I would miss her.
So until what age did your nanny took care of you?
My nanny took care of me for my almost entire life, almost till I was 25 years. She was with me. So, still now I get her in my dreams, and I still kind of miss her. That I wish she would be with me, taking care, and somebody. Though she was not educated, I couldn't tell her. I couldn't communicate with her a lot of things because she was not educated. But still, I knew there was somebody I could hold hands. I could embrace her. I could touch her. I don't remember any time when I have touched my mother in that way, in which a mother and child, and I would see other children touching their mothers and hugging them and sleeping on their laps, and I would wonder why this doesn't happen with me and my mother. Why doesn't she do those things which other mothers are doing for their children? Have I done something wrong? Or so now I think I'm kind of realizing that maybe she knew I was gay.
Your nanny?
No, my mother.
Your mother? That would be why she was.
Because she didn't treat my sister in that manner. Or maybe my sister didn't have a nanny when she was being raised, because her nanny died. My sister's nanny died of tuberculosis when she was very young, and my nanny refused to take care of my sister. She said, no, I am very possessive of. She used to call me her son, her child, my nanny. And she said, I'm only taking care of the prince, I'm not taking care of the princess. But my mother was taking care of my sister.
Oh, your sister. As a mother?
As a mother, yeah.
As a mother. Okay.
And with me, she was behaving very strange. So I used to sometimes wonder, is she my stepmother? As my father married 2 times and my real mother has died, and this would be my stepmother. That's why she is not treating me properly, and she treats my sister properly, but I am not treated properly. I would question myself. So, because this kind of a behavior is not a common behavior. A mother is the closest to the child. You have kept the child for 9 months in the stomach and given birth, so it's natural for the mother to be close to the child. But, but my mother was never close to me. She kept me away from being affectionate, and so it gives me to realize that because it has happened. I have counseled a lot of gay men, and a lot of them have told me that our mothers kind of knew that we were gay as we were growing up.
Okay.
So I have a feeling she could have properly guessed that I'm a different child, I'm not like the others, and maybe that is one of the reasons why she didn't like or love me.
Well, at least you had your nanny.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But at 25, did she die or did she
Yeah,
stop?
she died a natural death because she was
Yeah.
very old. She was my mother's nanny also.
Ah.
And then she was the second generation she was served. She was my grandmother's age. So she died at the age of around 80 plus, 80, 81. So she died of old age, natural death.
So she was still taking care of you when she was 70?
Yeah, she was
until
taking care
death.
of me, until death she was, in the, of course, later age she went away home because she was not able to see properly and she had to be taken care of. So, but till she lived a healthy life, she took care of me. For small things like, anything I needed, she was there as a mental support.
It's beautiful. At least you had your nanny.
Mm.
And so, growing up, it's around what age that you started to understand the fact that you were gay, your sexuality?
I think around 12 or 13 when I was in the sexual maturity age where we are all, understanding, going through that puberty. I realized that I was different. Like I used to like seeing men, naked men. I would like to see bathing men, in public, because in India it's very common to have men bathing in public. I would like to see that, and I had girlfriends in school and growing up, but I would not see them as a sexual object. I would look at them as buddies, as friends. I had, I think, more girlfriends than I had boyfriends when I was growing up, and I would not like when boys were teasing the girls.
So like, when you say girlfriend, is friend?
Friends, yeah.
Okay.
Not sexually friends, but like as buddies.
Yeah.
Like you have
buddies.
boyfriends, like if I'm a man, I have a friend, a boy. If I'm heterosexual, then I like to have friends with boys. Similarly, I had a lot of friends who are girls.
Who were girls? Okay.
But I had no sexual attraction to them. But I liked them,
the friendship.
their friendship with them and all. But I didn't like friendship with boys because they used to bully the girls and they would tease them. And I said, that's not right. That's not fair that girls are teased and harassed and all. Why should you kind of, bully them and all that? I would take the side of girls.
Okay.
But I would not understanding why I'm doing this.
So when you started to understand the desire for men, for boys you had, could you look up on someone, or like what was your mindset?
So my first sexual experience, if you ask me, was with my servant boy. So my grandmother had adopted a boy who had become orphaned, and she was educating him. So whenever I used to visit my grandmother, that's my mother's mother, in her palace. She was the queen mother of a place in Rajasthan and North India called Jaisalmer.
Jaisalmer.
So we used to visit the Jaisalmer palace very often. So the servant boy was told by my grandmother had told him that you have to look after the prince when he comes there, so that because he was a boy, so as I told you, homosocial behavior. So only boys can look after other boys. Girls are not allowed to mix around with boys.
Okay.
So this boy started taking care of me, and that boy I kind of found him very effeminate, and he was fond of dancing. He had won dance awards also and prizes in dancing. So he became friendly with me, and he was around 12 when I was 13. He was also trying to explore his sexuality. So in that process, we started kind of playing with each other's bodies, and we both liked it.
And it was very natural.
Yeah, it was very natural. Like we didn't have any kind of oral sex or anal sex or those kind of experiences, but it was just body touch and feeling each other's bodies, getting a hard on, and.
But you were not thinking about what am I doing? Is it hetero, or Like you were literally just playing as children.
Yeah, I was just playing as children, so I didn't think it is anything wrong. But I was just thinking that why am I doing this? I mean, what is this behavior? Why am I kind of doing this kind of a behavior which is not seen as a norm?
Could you talk about it with someone? Or
No,
it was only
yeah,
between
it was only between me and that boy, and that boy also enjoyed it, so he also didn't have a problem. And our kind of this kind of a experience continued almost till he was 18, and I was just a year older than him, and we write each other love letters also. When I would go back to Bombay, I would write him letters, because those days there was no internet or anything, so we could only write letters.
So it was kind of your first boyfriend?
Yeah, so it was kind of my first boyfriend, I would say, first crush.